Welcome to another edition of Chicago Crossing Model Railroad. It's me, Eric, here with you. I am burned out. Now, in my job, yeah, for sure. But also in the model railroading hobby, I've got a little bit of burnout. So what does that mean? That basically means that I don't feel particularly creative. I don't feel overly motivated to do big or interesting things. You can look at burnout and you can say, oh man, that's bad, that's catastrophic, your relationship with the hobby is fracturing, and how are you going to manage to fix that and become one with your favorite hobby again? You know, I don't really look at burnout that way. If you push yourself in your hobby beyond where it becomes fun, then absolutely, you can get a sort of more pathological form of burnout that prevents you from wanting to do it. I just finished a big wiring project. Why am I burned out? Because that was a massive undertaking. And so with that in mind, yeah, I feel a little bit spent. On top of that, creating content, that's also a pretty busy time. That's like a ratio of 2 hours of production for every 1 hour of footage that I shoot. So how do you deal with burnout in a hobby? I think there's a few different ways you can. You know, one way, and I don't necessarily recommend this way, is you basically just avoid it altogether. I don't really think that's terribly constructive, and it's also just not terribly fun. Again, at least for me, and your mileage may vary, burnout isn't about not having fun. It's about the level of excitement and creative energy to be able to take on another big project. So if there's not avoidance, the other aspect is, hey man, you know, if your hobby's like a meal, don't eat a whole meal. Eat snacks. You know, this is a good example. This is the interior of that building I have as a extremely loose representation of a lumber warehouse, likely reused from something else. And what you can see on the underside is basically how this building is wired to have all of these LED lights. They all wire into these Wago clips over here, which then wire into the quick release that goes under the layout to all the Just Plug system. So there's this interior here and all of these wires and things like that. And so the question is, well, if you open this door and you look inside, you're apt to start to see these little Wago clips. They're actually kind of bulky if you think about it, but at least for this experiment, they made for a pretty good way to just organize and tie together all of the wires for the LEDs. There's one last one that needs to go up there, by the way. I've basically taken some spare polystyrene as well as some, brick wood laser cut surface, and I'm making what more or less would be like another room or another entryway with an overhead door, maybe into a tool shop or a wood shop or something like that in the side. And so now I'm scratch building the interior so that I can paint it and finally install it, and it will cover up all of the wiring, the big white clip, and all that sort of stuff in there. This is an example of a small project that just kind of, for me, seemed like the right thing to do. And that's nice. It's just a little project, just a little thing. The stakes are low. It's going to be on the inside if I absolutely bodge it for some reason, which is highly unlikely, but nonetheless, then honestly, it's not a big deal. yeah, this is this is the no agenda day. Trying, maybe failing, and really not worrying about it. So like I said, embracing burnout, or that sense that the creative radar is searching for something new to do, can really offer a pretty helpful way to just sort of get back into things and to feel as if you're still exercising some of the creative muscle that you have, but in a way where you don't feel like you're overexerting. I literally am not worried about whether or not this works, other than to see whether or not it offers any sort of particular value as an experiment. Well, one of the other aspects of being able to constructively engage your hobby is to also know when you just kind of feel like you did enough for the day. So for me, it's an interesting experiment. It will sit inside of a building. It won't look bad. It'll actually probably improve things. Still have a little work to do, including taking care of the overhead door that'll be in the front here that will roll up. So yeah, not too bad. Still a few more things to do. And the good thing is we'll take care of that a little bit later. All right. Have a good rest of your weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.